There's this long-standing myth or belief in the black community that black men don't know how to respect authority. That we turn our nose up at authority. We don't care about authority or authoritative figures. And I would have to say that's false. I would have to say that's not true. Now, the thing that sparked this was I was at work and a manager comes down the aisle and I have some boxes on the floor. I'm not cognizant that the store is getting ready to open. So, of course, the boxes in the aisle is an eyesore. I even know it's an eyesore, correct? Okay. So, the manager, walks by and doesn't directly address me. He says, put the boxes in a cart or take them outside. But he doesn't directly address me. He walks by and says it out of his mouth, but he doesn't address me. So I'm thinking like, who are you talking to? You're not talking to me. If you're talking to me, address me as a human being. And the way he said it, it was in a tone like I'm an authoritative figure, which he was. He was a manager. But like I said, you didn't address me. And after that, like I had not an attitude, but I had an issue. It rubbed me the wrong way and it made me feel some type of way. What type of way? I can't necessarily articulate it right now, but it made me feel, uneasy. Like he was talking down to me. He was talking down on me. So I had to sit back and say, it's not that we have an issue with authority. It's not that I have an issue with the manager or a boss or anything of that sort. It's the way that authoritative figures handle us. It's not that we have a necessary issue with police, It's the way that the police treat us. It seems like people take their outside stereotypes and how they feel about black men and they bring that into their jobs. So the way that they address you is the way that they feel about you at home, based off the stereotypes, the propaganda, the news, the media, all these things, instead of addressing you as a human being. Now, do they consciously do it? To be completely honest with you, I don't think a lot of these people consciously do it. I don't think they go out of their way to address you in some kind of subservient way. I don't think they necessarily do that. What I think it is it's just so inherent in them not to respect us. It's so inherent in them to believe the false lies and the false narratives that have been placed upon us. I believe it's so deeply rooted in them that it just comes off as second nature. To be completely honest with you, I think it just comes off as second nature. Their unconscious is what allows them to address us in such a manner. Because I've had bosses, I've had other authoritative figures and things of that sort that I've come wholeheartedly with respect, They ask me to do something and I do it, Johnny on the spot. No issue as far as, completing a task when it's asked upon the right way or when an authoritative figure addresses you the right way. It's a difference when a police officer addresses you as a human being versus addresses you as a criminal. It's two completely different things. So a lot of people wonder why we give off the reaction that we do when people address us a certain way. It's because it's been the times that it's been accumulated over and over and over and over of the blatant disrespect or the blatancy of people not addressing us as a normal human being. And it's been compounded so many times that eventually it's like a bottle that's been shaken, it pops. Now, I know I'm not the only, black man who lives out this experience, but it's just something that sparked, as soon as he went through it, as soon as that situation happened, my mind is always wired to transmute energy and find the best out of a situation and use it to my advantage. So my mind wired and said, you should make a video about authoritative figures and black men. So that's where this one came from. But to go back onto the topic, I really don't think that we have an issue with authoritative figures. Now, some of us may, due to how we were brought up and things of that sort. But I was brought up in a respectful home to respect your elders, respect the, authoritative figures. I was taught that. But I also know just because you're an authoritative figure doesn't mean that I'm going to take the shit that you dish out to me. Meaning, if you don't address me properly as a human being, then I'm not going to respect you, point blank period. I don't care what authoritative role you have or anything of that sort. That does not give you the right to talk to me in a demeaning manner. Again, I don't care what role you have, does not give you the right to talk to me in a demeaning manner. Because it shows lack upon you. If you are a manager, you should know how to talk to everybody. So it shows more about the lack of skills that these managers or authoritative figures have, more so than a black man has. That's just my 2 cents. Do black men have an issue with the authoritative figures? No. It's the way that we're addressed. Because even if a black kid, a YN or something like that, was raised not to respect authoritative figures and things of that sort, he would even have respect for one when they address him properly. Again, when authoritative figure addresses him properly, treats him like a human being, it's in your natural nature to reciprocate that energy. And when you are addressed with disrespect or someone talks to you in a demeaning manner, you have 2 options: to reciprocate that same energy, or you can ignore it. A lot of times we reciprocate that same energy and some of us ignore it. Hence why we have back and forth with the police. It's not necessarily that we disrespect the police or we don't care about the police or authoritative figures. It's how they address us. Point blank period. Now, like I said, this doesn't go for all, because some of us do disrespect authoritative figures without, when it's not called for. So I do know that. But for the majority of us, I can't put that stamp on it. Anyways, let me know how y'all feel. It's your favorite cousin Rich. Y'all be safe out there. Love and blessings.